Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Lawal and today we are going to be building this beautiful YouTube clone with Svelte and SvelteKit. So in this video I have a couple of things packed for you guys. You're going to be learning how to use Svelte, you're going to be learning how to use SvelteKit, you're going to be learning how to use Tailwind CSS with SvelteKit, you're going to be learning how to use TypeScript with SvelteKit, you're going to be learning how to use Axios. You're going to be learning how to use form actions in SvelteKit. You're going to be learning how to use RapidApi. Yes, you're going to be learning how to use Shadcn Svelte. You're going to be learning some advanced layout techniques like group layouts. You're going to be learning how to create dynamic routes in Svelte. You're going to be learning how to create responsive layouts with Tailwind CSS. So this app is completely responsive even on mobile screens. You're also going to be learning how to do server-side rendering with SvelteKit. You're also going to be learning data streaming with SvelteKit. Also, how to add the loading state for your server-side rendered apps and so much more. So this app is completely beginners friendly. So if you've never written a code in a day in your life, or if this is your first time hearing about Svelte or SvelteKit, this is a good introduction video for you. And with this video, you'd essentially become a master of using APIs and a master of using SvelteKit itself. So without any further ado, because I am very excited, let's have a demo of the application, shall we? So right here on my screen is the home page of the application, as you can see. So I can scroll down, you see more videos show up. I can search for a video. So I can search for, let's say, Fireship, and I'll click enter. You see the loading state at the top. As time goes on, it loads out videos, and not just videos, but channels as well related to Fireship. So as you can see, the first thing we have here is the Fireship channel, and other things pop up like some of the recent Fireship videos. I don't know if you noticed this, but right on my right, we have this filter button. If I click on this filter button, this modal pops up with all these filter options, and this modal is generated by Shadcn Svelte. So in this filter, we can actually filter this search results and we get the results for what we filtered out. So I can say I want only channels, so the type should be channels, and I click on these channels here. It loads and bam, we only have channels being returned now. And I can do the same for videos. Come back to the filter and say I want only videos, and only videos are returned now. And if you think that that's actually where it ends, then you are wrong, because I can click on any of these videos card and I'm taken to the videos details page where I can see information about that channel. I can see the comments about that video. I can see the related content, the related videos, and I can also see this description. I can click this show more to show more, and I can click this show less to show less. And finally, last but not the least, I can play the video.
It is September 8th, 2023, and you're watching the Code Report.
So as you can see, this is a very nice project, and you are going to enjoy this so much. Before we end the demo, let me also show you the responsiveness. So I can inspect, and just like that, let me take this to the side. As you can see, completely responsive. It fits on all devices, on all screen size. So I can't wait to build this app with you. Get your fingers ready, get your editor ready, and let's get coding. So now I have VS Code opened, and before we continue, I just want to let you all know that the complete code with all of the images and icon we'll be using is in my GitHub, so the link will be in the description. Just click on the link, you'll get everything you need for this video. So the first thing that we're going to do now is install SvelteKit, and the way we're going to be doing that is we're going to be going to the SvelteKit website, kit.svelte.dev, and we'll be getting this command npm create svelte as latest and then the name of your application. I'm not going to be using npm, I'm going to be using pnpm. So if you also want to use pnpm as well, you can just come right here and we can go to the installation page. We'll install pnpm with node. So come to the installation here and you will see where's the node part. Like last one I saw it just 2 seconds. Okay, right here. So we have npm install g for global and then pnpm. And to install pnpm and to use npm, you have to have node.js. So you install node.js and then you have npm. And if you want to be supercharged like me, you use npm to install pnpm, and your life as a developer is far better. So come back here, make sure I copy this command, come to my terminal here and I paste this, download those things there. So I'll click dots here to instruct you to download them inside this folder here. So just give it a couple of seconds. So it tells me welcome to SvelteKit. Where should we create your project? And I'm going to click enter. So in this second step, I want you to go to skeleton project and click enter. Add type checking with TypeScript. Yes, even though this project will not be TypeScript heavy, but we are using TypeScript. So add ES links for code linting. Yes, so you can just indicate that you want this by using the spacebar and then using your arrow key up and down to move to the ones you want. So I'm going to click on pretty hard as well and then click enter. The next instruction is cd, no, just npm install. In your case, you might need to cd if you actually created the thing with a name, if there was a name, but you get instructions. You get instructions. My instruction is npm install or pnpm install. So I'm using pnpm, so it will be pnpm install, and I can use I as a short for install, as an alias for install. So pnpm I and then enter. So now that's installed. It took like a minute, a lot longer than it usually takes, but it's okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to install Tailwind. So here is the Tailwind CSS docs and guides on how to install Tailwind with SvelteKit. So what we're going to do here is copy this one, this npm install the Tailwind CSS, post CSS, and auto prefixer. Paste it here. We'll make one change, is to turn this to pnpm. Remember, if you want to use pnpm, install it. If you don't want to use pnpm, you can just use your usual npm. And to use npm, you have to install node.js. So yeah, that changed. I pressed up. Paste that again. I didn't actually copy it, that's why. So let's go back and this time try and make sure we copy it. Paste it twice. Remove one of that and change this to pnpm. Enter. And just like that, Tailwind is installed. But that's not all. We also need to generate a Tailwind config file. So npx tailwind init p, put that as well. And as that generates the file for us, I'm just going to come here and I'll copy this part as well. I'll go to my Tailwind config and I'll replace this content here with what I just copied. Like that. Save that. And the last step is to come here and copy all this. Yeah. Go to my static. No, not my static. My source, and then inside my source, my routes. In this route, I'll create a style.css, and in this style.css, I would paste those things that I copied. So paste this here, and inside this route, I'm going to create another file which is called +layout.svelte. That name must be correct, +layout.svelte. And in this file, I'll create a script tag. And since we're using TypeScript, I'll say lang is equals to ts, like that. And in this layout file, I want to import this styles here, this styles file here. So I'll say import style.css, like that, and then I'll save, and I'll also come here and save here as well. So we've not started the application. I'm already having some typos. So this script is not spelled correctly. SCR, that's how to spell script. Sorry, my bad. Now that we have this, we should have basically the whole thing, the base ready. So now we can run the application. I'm going to use npm dev. If you're using npm, you're going to use npm run dev. You click on enter. Give that like a second. Just like that, I can just click on this link here. It opens Chrome or your default browser and loads it up for me. So as you can see, right now we don't actually see anything, and that's because in our layout we need to put a slot tag here. In the layout, put a slot tag, save that. And now we see welcome to Svelte, visit kit.svelte.dev to read this documentation. And we are getting that from this plus page.svelte here. So now let me take some time to explain these special files in the routes folder. So in this routes folder, SvelteKit uses what they call file or folder based routing, meaning that if you create a folder here, it becomes a route. So if I create a folder here called about automatically becomes a route, and in order to output what I want to output in this about, I have to create a special file called plus page.svelte. So now anything I put on this place, like if I say h1, this is the about page, anything put here will actually output in the about page. So I can come here and put /about, and that's exactly what we see. This is the about page. Now this files, this plus page.svelte files, or any svelte file, actually does a couple of cool things. So in any svelte file, we can create a script tag. We can have normal HTML, and we can also have our styles, a style tag. So just like this, this is how Svelte makes things easier for us. We can actually have our JavaScript up here, our HTML here, and then our styles here. So that's for the plus page.svelte. And the layout plus layout.svelte, it's basically the layout of the page. So if I have this layout in the root routes, so it's in the roots of the routes folder, this particular layout, it's going to show the UIs that you put here is going to show for every page. So if I put an header right here and I say this is the header, this header will show for this page here, which is the root plus page.svelte, and that is why we see it when we don't have any slash. So we see this root one here. So we're going to see this layout, this header, we're going to see it for this page, and we'll also see it for this about page as well, because it's the root layout and it covers everything in this route. So as you can see, I have this is the header here, and if I go back to the about, I still have this is the header there as well. So that is basically it for the plus page and the plus layout.svelte. There are a couple of other special files. We'll not get into them right now. They would get into some of them later on in this video, and we'll get into some of them in some other video. But for now, home page. So the home page will begin by creating the header components. And how we're going to do that is, first of all, we'll delete this one that we created here, and we'll put the header in the layout because I want the header to show in every page. So we'll put the header in the root layout. We'll remove this one here, and we'll come to this lib folder. You should have this lib folder here as well. Come to this lib folder, and inside this lib folder, create a folder, another folder called components. So components like that. In this components, we'll create a file called header.svelte. Now I'll have an header tag, and I'll say this is the header, and I'll come to my layouts and I'll import that header tag right above this slot. So this slot is very necessary because it is actually telling SvelteKit where we want to output this the children of this layout. So if it puts the slot under the header will come first, and then anything inside the page would come later on. So if I save that and I check it, you see we've deleted this about page. That's why it's not rendering anymore. So I have this is the header, and then I have the things in that page. If I took this header down, I'll see the things about the page first, then I'll see the header. So I see welcome to SvelteKit, blah blah blah, and then I have this is the header right under. And if I removed the slot, I won't see anything concerning the page at all. So I only see this is the header. So that slot is actually very important. Now to move back into the header component, we're going to start building the header component. So in this header component, we're going to start off by creating 3 divs. The first one, the second one, and the third one. In the first one, we're going to have a couple of things. We're going to have 2 images. So we have img, and we have them twice. So in the first image tag, the src is going to link to icons / YT logo .svg. I'll save that, and remember all these icons and images, they are available for you in the GitHub repo, so just go to the description, the link would be there. Let's continue. Come here, and I can see I have YouTube icon showing here. So let me just divide my page into half so that we can see our progress as we are building it. Now that's for the first icon. The second icon is actually going to be a burger icon or a menu icon, any way you want to call it. I call it a burger icon. So I'll say /icons /burger icon .svg, and I'll save that, and I see the burger icon here as well, just there. One thing I'm going to change is that I'm going to move this burger icon above this YouTube logo, and I'll save that just like that. So that will be it for the first tag for now. The second div is actually going to be a search bar, so we just put a placeholder saying search bar, and the third one is going to be a similar thing. It's going to be a div container of other images. So right here we're going to have 3 images. So the first one, img, is going to link to icons / create icon. So it's going to be /icons / create icon .svg. So that's what you see here. We'll give this a class. And in the class we're going to add some Tailwind utility classes to start that for us. So the first thing we'll do is give this a p of 3. So padding all around of 12 pixels. After that, we'll say rounded full. Now you saw the take effect. Now it has a padding. Next thing is that whenever we over it, we want a form of background color to show. So I'll just say over BG gray 200. Now when I over this, you can see a little background color shows. One thing that we can add to better the experience is just a cursor anytime we over. So I can say cursor pointer. Now that little hand actually shows when we over it. So that'll be all for this one. We can just copy this and paste this again one more time, and we can reference the notification icon. So the notification icon is actually not icon, NOT, then icon. Save, and now we have the note icon as well. The third one is going to be a avatar. So I'll say img/avatar dot png, not svg, png. And then this will have its own classes as well. So I'll say class, and then bg gray 200, height 8, width 8, rounded full, and cursor pointer. Save that, and we have this avatar here as well. So now we have the base of everything written down. We'll come back to our header, and in our header we'll add a class, and the first thing we'll add here is the powerful flex. Now after adding the flex, we're going to actually add some couple of more things, but let's save this to see the result that flex gives us. So flex takes everything to a row. You know what, I'm going to make this auto save, so it saves every time. After it's little delay, it will just automatically save, so we can see the effect take place almost like as if it's in real time. So yeah, so we're in flex now. I can say px 4, that means padding left and right of 16 pixels. After that, we can give this an item center, and I want this header to be of height 64 pixels. So 64 pixels. A py of 2, meaning padding top and bottom of 8 pixels. And we also want this header to be sticky. So before we make it sticky, we'll give this a background of white, so it's not transparent. And then a Z index of 10, so it always stays at the top. And then we want this out justified between, so they spread out completely. As you can see, the effect is taking place almost immediately, almost seems real time. It's crazy. So now we can add the sticky class of just sticky like that, and tell it we want top 0, left 0 as well. Now if I save this, we are almost there. Not yet there, but we are almost there. The next thing I'm going to do now is come down to the first div we had, the first div container, give this a class as well, and we'll bless this div with a flex as well. After blessing it with a flex, we'll give this a gap of 4, and then an items center. So as you can see, the effect is taking place as we are adding the styles. So after giving that an item center, would move down to this last div as well and do something similar. So I'll say class flex. This is going to be a gap of 3, item center, because we love our item center. And that'll be all for that. And as you can see, the header is starting to take place. Looks very, very close to what we had on the final demo. But in order to show our sticky header take place, I'm going to go back to our plus page, and I'll just add a lorem in an h1 so that we can make it profound. You can say h1 class text 3xl, and then inside this h1 I can have a lorem of 500 words. Now you can see when we scroll down, the header stays there. It doesn't actually scroll with it. So that's just something nice that you can do very quick with Tailwind. Just add sticky and then top 0, left 0, and then a z index to keep it on the top. So we'll remove this from here, go back to our header, and we'll continue. So the next thing we're going to do in this header is actually add this effect we have here, like this over effect, add it to this icon here. So we can just copy from one of the ones we already created and we'll just paste it here. Now we have something very similar. Next on the list, we'll be creating the search bar. So in order to create this search bar, we'll create another component for it. Now let's come to the component for that and say search bar. Let's make that a capital letter B, bar.svelte. And I'll come back to the header and import it right at this spot here. Let's see, SEA search bar like that. It gets imported. So we're going to start off with a form because what we have inside it is an input. So first we have a form tag, and in the form tag we'll have two things: an input and a button. So we'll start off with the input. We'll say we want a class, and then want to give this an height of 40 pixels. After that, we'll give this an outline of none, because of right now, if I click here, you see we have this outline. I'm gonna give this an outline of none. Now if I click, we don't actually see anything, but when I click, I want to see a blue border. So I can just say focus like this, and then border blue of 5, or let's say 600. So border blue 600. Now if I click on it, nothing will actually happen because we have to add the border class. So I can just say border here, and now when I click on it, you see that we have a little border showing here. I want that to be a little bit thicker. It's not thick enough for me, so I'll say focus again, and this time I'll say border 2 pixels. Now when I click on it, it's a lot thicker than it was before. I also want to give this input a padding x of 3. I want to make this flex 1. I'll tell you why later I'm making this flex 1. And I'll give this a border. So the default border will be of gray 400 like this. So when I click on it, it becomes blue and thick. So I want to just look at the left hand side of this input. I want to make this left hand side to be completely rounded, to be curved somehow. So I can just come here and say rounded S. Now S is for start, so I'll say rounded dash S, which means for start, and then dash, and then how much I want it to be rounded, I'll say 3xl. And now you see it take effect. It becomes rounded and it's very nice. So now we'll leave the input and we'll move onto the button. Now in the button, the first thing we want to do is add something inside this button, which should be an image. and this will be of icons / icon. So slash icon slash SEARCH icon dot svg. Now we have this svg icon here showing. Now I can actually come inside my button, give this a class, and the first thing we'll do, you guessed it, flex. Give this a item center, justify center. But as you can see, as we are doing it, the image has gone down. In order to prevent that from happening, I'll come to my form and I'll give this form, you guessed it again, flex. Flex. I will give this form here an height as well. Just give it an height of 40 pixels as well, 40 pixels. And let's give this a basis, basis of 600 pixels. So if you don't know what basis is, it's very similar to just width. So I tell this one is to have a width of 600 pixels. The reason why I use basis and not width is because of basis work very well, or better than width when it comes to a flex child. So this input is inside the flex container. If you remember, in our header we gave the header of flex, so the header becomes a flex parent, and this input here, this component, this search bar component, is a flex child. So using basis actually work better. Now let's continue. If I go back to my button, I'll keep on adding styles here. Once now to put here is make this pointer, so I'll say cursor pointer, and I'll give this a width of 16 like this. After that, I'll give that a background slate of, let's just say 50, something very light. And we are very, very close. We can just give that a border as well. And we're almost done, but to wrap the whole thing up, we want to give this a rounded end as well, just like the way we give the input a rounded start. So we'll say rounded -e for end, and then -3xl, and bam, we have the rounded corner for both the input and the button, and the whole thing looks very, very nice. It's starting to take shape just the way we like it. In order to wrap up this header component, we'll make it responsive. So remember, I told you we'll be learning how to create responsive layout with Tailwind. So I'll come back to my header component. What I want to do basically is to remove some certain things and some certain sizes of the screen, and add some certain things and some certain sizes of the screen. So we'll start off with this first div here, and we'll say that we want this to actually show, right? We want this burger icon and the YouTube logo to show when the screen is on medium to larger screens. So I'll just come to this flex here and say MD column. Now to only take place on medium to larger screens, and from medium to smaller screens it won't show at all. So we'll give it hidden, and now it completely disappears. We'll do something very similar to the ones at the bottom as well. So we can just come there, scroll there here, and say MD for the flex, MD column for the flex, and then after that we say hidden. So now we don't actually see both of them, but if we increase our screen, they pop in. So you see that as we reduce the screen size, they disappear, just like that, just the way we wanted it. But I want this YouTube logo to show even on smaller screens. So I'll copy that, take it outside the div, so that'll be in the root of the header, and paste. So now you see issues, but there'll be another issue because of when it gets larger, we'll now have two YouTube logos, which we won't want. So I'm going to tell this one to be invisible, or to just be taken out of the DOM when we get to larger screens, this particular logo here. So I can do that by saying, coming here like this, giving this a class, and saying MD hidden. So on medium size screen to larger screen, you're going to be hidden, and I'll just give this a margin right of 5 to just give that a little space on the search bar. And just like that, we now have a responsive header. Bam, bam. Simple as that. The last touch on this component would be to add links. So I'll have 8 tags with each ref of just slash, and I'll put them inside these logos so that these logos, clicking on these logos will redirect you back to the home page. I'll do it for this one as well. Slash. Just like that, we are done with the header. Now let's move on to the sidebar, I mean. So we'll start off by creating a sidebar component. Come to the component folder and create a, my bad, sidebar.svelte. Remember? And then I want to put this in our layout so we can actually see it. So I'll find layout here. I'll say sidebar. Now the first thing that I'll write here is scripts, and in this script I'll give this a lang of ts to tell you that it's TypeScript that we're using. And after that, come out of the script tag, I'll give this a div here. In the div would have an a tag, and in this a tag would have, inside the a tag would have an image tag, and after this image tag would have a p tag. So make sure your structure is like this before you continue. Now after this, I'm going to give this image, I'm going to just add an image here. So we'll say icons slash, what image to be added here? We'll say subscription. So we'll say sub icon dot svg, and in this p tag I write subscriptions like that, and I'll give this a slash in this href. And as you can see, we have the thing showing. Let me remove everything inside this page. Now we have this icon with this subscription showing here. That's where we want it. First of all, we'll come to the root div, give us a class of bg white. So I want the background to be white. We'll get this of py2. So padding top and bottom of 8 pixels. We'll get this a flex, and after that we'll get this a flex column, because we don't want it to be on the row, we want it to be on the column. So we'll say flex column. After that, we'll give this a px of 1, so that means padding left and right 4 pixels, and we'll say we want this to be fixed, because when we scroll, we don't want to actually move. We don't want the sidebar to actually move when we scroll. So we'll say fixed, and then after fixed, we'll tell it where we want it to be fixed to, right? So we'll say top, but not top 0, because when we say top 0, it tries to enter this header. We'll say top, and we'll specify the height of the header, which was actually 60 pixels, if you remember. So I'll say 60 pixels. Now to stay at the very end of the header, or to start at the very end of the header. So we'll move to the a tag, give this a class as well. Remember, the a tag is covering the image and the text. So we'll give this a flex. We'll say item center, justify center, because we want them to be in the middle, and then we'll say flex column because we want them to be on top of each other. Sorry. Give this a gap of 1. Have a little space. We'll say padding top and bottom 4, like that. And now when we over it, I want a gray color to show, so I'll say BG gray 100. Now when I over it, you can see we have a little gray color showing. To end all of that, we can just give this a rounded of LG. Now when I over it, you can see very subtle background there. Now in order to the next thing is that we can actually do is copy this and paste this a couple of times, and then change the text and change the icon. But man, we are programmers, we shouldn't be doing some redundant things like that. What we'll actually do is actually stress ourselves and and create an array. So I'll just say nav, I'll call this array nav, be equals to an array of objects. And in these objects we have 2 things. We have the icon, which in this case the first one we have here is sub icon, so we'll just put the name there, sub icon. And the second thing would be the title, so you can say subscription, like that. And we can copy and paste this a couple of times. 1, 2, like that. So that's okay. So what we want to do now is take this nav and then map over this nav, but we won't actually be using map. We'll be using something that Svelte gives us, which is called the ish block. So I'll just do this curly braces, and then inside them I'll put hashtag, and after hashtag I'll put ish. Then after ish I'll say nav, put space nav, and then as. After as I'll say item, and then I'll close it like this by putting another curly braces with slash and then ish, like that. I'll copy this whole tag and I'll put it inside there. So you'll see it loops 3 times because we have 3 items here. So I have this item here, and this item gives us information about the things inside the array. So as you can see, I have the icon and I have the title. So what I can do there is just come here to the text here, and I'll replace the text with the item dot title, and then after that I'll put my $, curly braces, and then item dot icon. And after I've done all of that, I want to put this morphing inside the curly braces as well, just like that. The whole thing should work now. Exactly. So we have the icons and we have the text. Now to show you guys that this actually works, I can change the icons and I can change the text. So the first one, I'll say home icon. So we see the icon will change. We have this home icon showing now, and I can say home here. And the second one, I have the shorts icon, so I'll say shorts. And you can see it has changed as well. So, T, like that. S is changed as well, and I can put shorts here. And the last one, I'll call this a library icon. And then in the text, I'll call the text library. So I'll say I'll copy this one more time and I'll add this for the last time. Yeah. And now we're going to actually rewrite that subscription icon that we removed. So sub icon, and then here will be subscription. Just like that, we have the sidebar created. And just to check out the header and the sidebar together when we are scrolling, we'll go back to the page and we'll do the thing we did last time, which was, yeah. So as you can see, when we scroll, they both stay, but the one thing you will notice is that this sidebar is kind of short, number one, and number two. The text is kind of inside the sidebar. So we can fix that by going back to our layout. Add a couple of fixes. We'll leave this header the way it is. But after the header, we'll create a div. And in this div, we'll basically copy this slot and this sidebar inside. And instead of leaving this slot just like this, I'll create a main tag and I'll put the slot inside the main tag. Now inside this div, the root div, I'll give this a class of flex. So let's be looking at our updates as they're happening. So I give that a class of flex, and in this main, in order to not make the text be entering the sidebar, I'll give this a class of margin left 74 pixels. So I'll say margin left 74 pixels. Now you see it shifts, yeah, but it doesn't actually shift all the way. So I'll say P6 to kind of have like a padding around. And now as you can see, it's kind of loose, very neat now. When I scroll, it doesn't disturb it, and the sidebar shows completely just the way we wanted it exactly. Now after all this, we now have the header and the sidebar ready. The next place of action be the video card. So back to my components, video card.svelte card.svelte, like that. This is when things start getting interesting. So have our script. In our script, we'll have lang of ts. After the script, we have a div. In this div, we'll have another div. And after this other div we had, we'll have an image. And this image is going to be the thumbnail. But we need somewhere to actually be rendering this, and we'll be seeing what we are actually writing down. So I'll go back to the home page, remove this, remove everything actually, create a div, and then import the video card. So inside this video card, I'll just create a class. I'll say grid, and then grid calls for. This is just temporary so that we can actually see what we are building very well. And I'll just copy and paste that a couple of times, just like that. And let's just end the whole thing by giving it a little gap so it can look nice. Now I'm back to my video card component, and I want to give this an avatar. So I'll say slash, let's look at our icons and see any avatar we can give it. I'll say slash thumbnail. Let's use thumbnail. So I'll say slash thumbnail .webp. Just like that, we have these thumbnails showing. After that, I want to give this thumbnail some styles. So class, I will say, and it looks very ugly. After that, I will say a width of full, and an object cover. So the image kind of spreads out now. After that, I'll give this a rounded of 2XL. So I'll say rounded 2XL, and I'll give this a BG as well. So if the image has not loaded, we have this nice background color there, a very subtle gray. So I'll say BG gray 200, just like that. And now after that, we're going to move on to another div. Now this div is going to be after this image. So I'll say div. In this div, we'll have a couple of things. So the first thing we'll have is actually an image. And before we actually continue with here, let's just be making things responsive as we're actually moving along with them. So in order to make this this video image responsive for smaller screens, we'll just give this a little thing here. We'll say SM. That means from smaller screens, we want this to be not 250, but the height to be 208 pixels. So that will be smaller. Yes, smaller than it on the mobile screens. So this will just make the height of the video card smaller on larger screens. Let's continue. I'm moved to my image inside the div, and I'll just give this a thumbnail as well. So I'll just say slash avatar.png. Give this a class and say height 9, width 9, just like that. And we are not yet done. We want that to be completely rounded, so I'll say rounded MD. After giving that a rounded of MD, we'll give this a BG gray of 7 of, let's say 100, so that if it's not present, we just have that nice background. Instead of giving this MD, let's just give this full, so it's a complete circle. So now as you can see, it's a complete circle by giving this rounded full. So that's that for the image. The next thing we're going to tackle would be the title, the description, all that stuff. So I will just have a div here after the image, and this div would hold 3 things, which will be the title, the channel name, and then the number of views that this channel has. So I'll say h3 for the title. So I'll say React sucks for the title. I'm not trying to cause any beef. So the second one will be p tag, would be the channel name. So I'll say Lawal for channel name, and the third one is going to be another p tag for the number of views this video has. So I'll say 5 million. And one more before we end it, we'll give it another p tag and we'll say the date it was published. So I can just say 2 hours ago, and this 5 million and 2 hours ago, we'll wrap them inside one div like that. So let's go back to the beginning and start with this div here, this one here. So I'm back at the root div. Let's start with the root div itself, the beginning div itself. So we'll just start from the beginning, this one here. So give this a class. I won't say relative. I'll tell you why later on, why I'm giving that a class of relative. So after giving that one a class of relative, I would come to this other div here. I'll give this a class, and the first thing I'm going to do is add flex. So you can see they now becoming a row. After adding flex, we'll give this a gap of 3. and then a margin top of 3 as well. I'm going to move on to the H3 here. So I want to add some couple of styles that get this class, and first one say is capitalize, and then font of medium, so that will be font weight of 500. We'll move on to the second p tag with our channel's name. Give that a class. I'll say text gray of 600. I want to make this text small, so text XM, capitalize, and then margin top 1. Then we'll come to this last div, the div covering the views and the publish time. Open a class for this one as well. And then we give this text gray of 600. Give this text XM, so make it small. After making it small, we want to change this from P to span. So to move, now they are span and they have inline, not more block. Now they are inline. Their display is inline, and that's why they kind of stay on the same line. We could have implemented that using Flex as well, but for once in our life, let's try and use better semantic HTML. And that would be actually all for the video card. As you can see, it's not actually that hard, very simple stuff. We have the avatar, we have the title, we have the channel name, and then we have the information of this video, like number of views and then when it was published. To wrap this whole thing up, I'll just change this from a div to an A, because this will actually be a link. So A and then href. For now, we'll just link this to slash, that means the home page. And I'll have another div here, because I want to put the time it was, the length of the video as well. So I'll open this and I'll put this div that I opened that time, and I also put this image as well inside that place. In fact, I'll carry this class and I'll put it in this div as well. So this class of relative as well. So in this div, I'll just put 1020 to just kind of fake a video length and give this a class so we can actually see what we're doing. So you can see where it is right now, right? We want to bring it and take it to the down right here, like in the left corner, left bottom corner. That's where I want to take it to. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to actually have to use what they call absolutes. So absolutes. After using absolute, I'll say bg black / 80 pixels. The slash is just telling me that we want it to have to be a little bit opaque. And then I'll give this a text of white so we can see it. I'll say font of semi-bold to be bolder. I'll say rounded. So it's actually taking shape. I hope you guys can see it. It's right at the top corner. We now want to bring it to the bottom corner. So I'll say bottom 1. Bam, it goes down, and then right 1. Bam, it goes to the right. Now just like that, we have that implemented as well. Just one more thing. I noticed this text is actually very large. We can reduce the text size to something smaller. So we can say text extra small. Now it's smaller and it actually looks a lot better this way. So let's give this a padding as well. So I'm just adding new things. The more I think it looks better. Okay, now the padding definitely made it look a lot better. I like it like this. Yes, this is far better. Now we have this page already built and complete. The next thing I'm going to be focusing on is building the the search result page, but I noticed this header has a little bug. So as you can see right here, we have all this space that nobody's using. So I'll come to the header. I'll try and debug that now. First of all, I'll just give this a border, so you can be sure it's coming from the header, and it is coming from the header. So what's the problem? So the error was actually because we have this class right here. So I'll move this class from here and I'll move it to the parent a tag here. And just like that, I can check mine and bam, it's been fixed. So we move. So the next thing is actually going to be us working on the search page. So we'll come outside of this lib folder to this route. I'm going to create a new route. And this route is going to be called results. So new folder, results, like that. And inside this result, we'll have a plus page.svelte. And in this plus page.svelte, you're basically going to have two things. You're going to have the search video card and the channel card. So I just have a div, and this div will have a class with space SPACE Y of 5. Then we'll move on to our components folder in our libs folder, and we'll create a new file. We'll create the channel card. So say channel card.svelte, and in this channel card we'll have a div. Inside this div would have another div. So go to the top level div and give this a class, say flex, and then gap of 4, item center. Come to the second div, give this a class, maximum width of 360 pixels. So we can see now results, slash results, go to the result page. And in this result page, I want to just render out this channel card. Render it a couple of times, like this. Now we are back to the channels card component. So after giving this a max width of 360 pixels, we're going to give this a width of full, and then we'll say flex, item center, justify center, and inside this div we'll basically just have an image. This image is going to be the avatar. So we'll say avatar.png. It's very big, so we're going to have to give this some couple of classes. We'll say class width of 136 pixels, so it's smaller, and then an height of 136 pixels as well, and rounded full. Sorry. Now just the way we like it. So after that div, we'll come to inside and create another div outside that div, and this div will have an h1. This h1 is going to have the title, so I'll say, just say Lawal dev, and just Lawal, like that. And this h1 will have some classes as well, so give this a class, and after giving it a class, we're going to add some Tailwind utilities to that class. So we'll say we want this to be capitalized, then we want the font to be medium, and the text to be large, LG. give this a margin bottom of 2 because want it to have a margin bottom, and that is that for that one. The next one would have will be a p tag, and in this p tag would basically have the name of the channel and then the number of subscribers the channel has. So we'll say not the name of the channel. When I mean name of the channel, I mean kind of the the tag name. So I can say @lawal, something like this, and then there's @lawal YT, which is actually my own tag name, and then I can say like 50 subscribers, something like that. So I'll come to this div, come to this p tag here. This is a class text gray. Don't change the color of the text. So say text gray of 600, and then want to make it small, so say text XL to make it XS to make it extra small, and then give this a margin bottom as well, but margin bottom 1, just like that. And after this p, we'll have another p tag, and it's going to be like a description snippet. So we can just say, welcome to my channel where we talk about, what do we talk about on this channel? I don't know. Let's just welcome to my channel is is good enough for me. So I'll say class in this p tag, and then I'll give this a text of gray 600. Let's go 600, and then we'll make this small, so say text SX extra small, so something like this. But we are not done. We'll have to come out of this div, and after we come out of this div, we have a button, and this button will say subscribe. So I'll get this button from a couple of classes. First, I want to make this button a BG of black. After that, we'll get this a text of white. Make this text small. After that, we'll say margin left auto, so it goes to the extreme right. So say margin left auto. So you can see it actually sit there, but it would take effect very soon. So give this a font of medium and a rounded full. On the padding top of bottom of 2, and then a padding left and right of 4. So that will be PY2 PX4. So now we have this button. So when we fill the screen, this button should be going to the extreme right. That's what we want. So let's see what's the issue. So what I want you guys to do is to come to the layout here. This is where we're going to fix it, and I want you to add a flex one in this the main tag covering the slots. So you add a flex one, and you come back to this channel card, and then you can just add like a width full. You don't actually have to add this, but you can add this, or you can just remove this. But now it would actually span the screen, and you see this subscribe button goes to the end. That's because we have this margin left of auto. If I remove this, you see the button would come back. Yeah. So now let's continue with the search video card. Divide my screen and then create a new component called search video card.svelte. And in here, We just remove this. In here, we'll have to just create first off a div. So after we create a div, we'll add the image. So we'll say div and then an image. And this image is going to be some sort of thumbnail. So we can just use the same thumbnail we used last time. So we can say slash. Where was it again last time? Right here. So I can literally copy, say rename and copy, come here, paste, and then say dot webp. So webp like this. And we have to render this component as well. So come back to the page plus page.svelte inside the result folder. So the plus page.svelte inside the result folder. Remove out this channel card, just leave only one, and I'll put my search video card. One of that as well. So I'll go back to the search video card component. And this div, I'll give this div a class. I'll say flex and gap 4. This image will also have some styles as well. So I'll say class. So like very similar to the one we have above, we'll have a max width of 360 pixels. After getting the max width of 360 pixels, we'll say object cover. So, and then aspect ratio. We'll say aspect ratio of video. Just like that. We'll say one rounded 2XL. After giving it rounded 2XL, we want to say width of full. And then give this a flex. Say item center justify center. I'm just joking, we don't actually need this here. Don't actually need that here, but that just shows how additive this flexing can be. You just want to put it anywhere, but we don't actually need that here. Just a joke. So now if I increase my screen, you see I have this image right here. So I'll come under the image and I'll put a div. This div will have a class of text gray 700. So we'll say text gray 700. This one have an h1, and in that h1 would be the number of views this video has and the published time. So we can just say something like 10 mil, and then 2 hours ago, something very similar to the one we did last time. And we can say we want this to be, we won't make this h1, make this p, and we'll give them a class of text extra small, and we'll give them a margin bottom of 1, so we'll say MB1. But above that, actually, we want to put in a title, and that title will be the one that will have this h1, and I'll say next.js also sucks. And in this h1, I'll have a class capitalize. I have a font of 500, so font medium. I have a text of 18 pixels, that'll be text LG. And what else are we going to have here to make the title look more beautiful? We'll just make this a text of black. So text black. Just like that. Now we'll move on. So after the p tag, we'll have a div. And this div will have a couple of class. So we'll say flex item center gap 2 and a margin top and bottom of 4. Inside this div, we'll have an image, and this image is going to be the avatar. So say slash avatar dot svg. Okay, not svg, png. Now it shows, and this avatar would have a couple of classes as well. So we'll give this a width 6, height 6, rounded full, like that. So right after this image, just right after the image, we'll have a p tag, and will be the channel name, which will be Lawal, and the only class we'll add this will be, make this capitalized and then text extra small. So we'll come out of this. Let's save this. Let this look very well. So we'll come out of this div here, this div covering the image and the p tag. Come out of that div, and then we'll create another div. So say instead of creating a div, let's use a p tag. So say p tag, and then we'll have a description snippet. I'll just copy this one we had here before. Copy and paste. Now description snippets wants to be smaller than that, so say text extra small. So now it's small, and I don't think this text grid is taken. Okay, I think it's taking priority. Okay, so after that we'll have another div right after the p tag. We'll have a div, and this div is going to be for the badges that would have there. So we'll just give this div a class. I will say flex item center gap 2. Now inside this div we'll have a p tag, and this p tag will say, let's see, 4k. So say 4k. I'll give this a class. First of all, we'll say rounded. After bg gray 700, text gray 800, text small, so text extra small, fonts medium. So on padding top and bottom of 0.5, which is 2 pixels, and I want padding x of 1, which is 4 pixels. Now we have this 4k that we can actually hardly see. So I start making this if you can, instead of making this background 700, make this background 200. Now you can see the 4k better. Increase my screen size. The video card is here with the 4k badge right under the welcome to my channel. So one thing I noticed is that this badge doesn't really have any space. So you can give this right here a margin top of 3. So it has a little bit of space there, just like that. And the cool thing about this badge is that we can have multiple badge and they will just align, because this is a svelte, this is a flex container, so I can paste another one and they just align there. Nice. So right now we've already built the result page with the channels card and the videos card. One more thing we want to do here is add that filter button. So we want to add that filter button. So we'll go to the result page here, and just above this div we'll have another div above it. So this div is going to have a class of a couple of things. We'll have flex we'll have justify end, because I want to push it to the the filter button to the right hand side. So we want to push the end, and then we say my2. So after that, we'll create a button btn, and we'll say filter, give that button a class, and we'll say font medium. So as you can see, the filter is just right at the end there. Font medium, border, px4, not ps4, py1, rounded full, and when we over it, bg gray 200. Now when we over this, we have this gray color, but when we click on it, nothing happens yet. So the next thing on the agenda list is to create the videos page. So when we click on any of these videos, we want to be taken to the videos page. Before we do that, actually, I want to enter this channels card, and I want to make this an A tag with an href and just put slash. That way we're making it clickable. And I'll do the same thing for the search video card as well. Make this an A tag and href, just to make it clickable. So now when we over it, we see that we can actually click on them. So nice. Cool. Let's start off by creating the page. So this page is actually going to be a dynamic route. So I'm going to show you how to create dynamic routes in SvelteKit, I mean. Come to your routes folder and would create another folder to create another page, to create another route, essentially. So I'll click on my folder icon and I'll say, instead of just giving it a name like video ID, I'll put it in a square bracket. That way we'll create a dynamic route. So I'll say video ID, just like that. And inside this video ID folder, I'll say plus page.svelte, and then I'll say this is the video page. Now if I go to any route that is not result, except from that of result, so I can just go to just write anything, it will take me to this is the video page, and that is because it's catching every route that comes in here that's not already specified in this route. So anyone like results, it was going to take us to the result page, and if there's any other routes we add here to take us to that page, but if it's not here, it's going to catch it and it's going to render this page here for us. So that's this square braces, and we can actually then get the value of this and use it to render something on this page. I'll show you guys how to do all that. So first of all, we'll first begin by creating the UI first. So the first thing we're going to add here would be something called an iframe. So this iframe is what allows us be able to play the video. So we'll not be creating the YouTube player from scratch. No, we're using this iframe, and we'll be getting the video ID, and we'll just be putting it in this embedded here. So it's very simple. We just have iframe tag, it's self-closing tag. Then we have a class of width full and height of 480 pixels. Then the source would be https://www.youtube.com/embed/ and then we'll have the video ID placed inside here, and then we can put a title. I'll put the frame border if you want, and this allow as well, optional. This allow, you are just telling the iframe the things you want to allow: accelerometer, autoplay, clipboard right, this, that, picture in picture, and this allow full screen as well. You're just telling that you want to allow the option to go full screen. So that's basically this iframe does. So after this iframe, I'll say a div, and in this div will have a class of maximum width 1150 pixels, like that. So say px2 width full and mx auto. So this is giving us a 500 error because this video ID is not actually defined. So we can just define that so it doesn't give us that error. So we can say scripts lang ts, and I can say let video ID equals to empty string, like that. So now we have this thing showing here, and the reason why it's this large is because of we specified an height of 480 and a bit of full, and because this video ID is empty, it just renders this default you are offline something. But right under it is where we're going to be working, but for now we can actually comment this so it doesn't really disturb our view, just like that. So right under the div, we'll have an h1. This h1 will have a class of text XL for extra large, and then a font of semi bold. Make this capitalized as well. And the title, this is going to be where we'll put the title. So we'll say Svelte SvelteKit rules, just like that. After that, we can move down out of the h1 and open another div tag. In this div tag, we'll have a couple of classes, so just add class, and first one we'll add here would be flex. Then after flex, we'll tell it that flex code goes on to be in the column, and on MD it will be flex row. So I'm thinking of responsiveness already. Gap of 5 and item of center. Let's go start, not center. Inside this div, we have another div, and inside this another div, we'll have a component. So let's create a component. This component will be channel info. So come here and say CHANNELL card channel info. I mean, not channel card, channel info. So let's write again. Channel info dot svelte, like that. Let's import it inside here. So say channel info, like that. Exactly. Then we'll go to channel info. Then here we'll open our script tag, and language is TS. We'll come out of the script tag and we'll start our markup div. The first div would have a couple of class of flex, margin top and bottom 5, and item center justify between. Inside that div, we'll have another div, and inside this div, we'll have another div, and inside this div, we'll have an image. So you will notice something about Flexbox. Anytime we use Flexbox, we have to use a lot of wrappers, we have to use a lot of divs, and that's just the only one downside about Flexbox. Apart from that, it's far better in my opinion than Grid. which is most times overrated. So we'll come to the top level div here, and we'll add class. First class we'll add here will be flex, and we'll give it item center and gap 5. Inside the second div here, we'll add another class and flex, item center as well, and gap of 3. So this image itself is going to be like the channel's logo. So we'll just add, let's add the parts, let's say avatar.png like this. So now we see it. And I can say class here. So I want to make it smaller. I'll say width 10, height 10, rounded, full. I want to be completely rounded, just like that. And just after this div, this image tag, still inside the div tag that we are in, I'll create another div. And inside this div, we'll have 2 p tags. So the first p tag would, let's give this a class of font medium and capitalize. So this will be the name of the channel. So we'll just say Lawal YT, and the second one will be the number of subscribers. So we'll give this one a class of text gray 700, text extra small, so XS, and the number of subscribers will say, let's just say 1000 subs, just like that. So we'll come out of that div tag, the div that is covering those 2 p tags will come out of it, and we'll create a button. Now this button is going to have basically the same styles of those buttons on that channel card. So we'll go to the channel card, and we can just copy these classes here. This one right here, copy it, and come here, write subscribe, come here, class, and we paste that like that. We should have that subscribe button there as well. Now, after doing that, the one thing you want to do first is remove this margin left or 2 that we copied along. Once we remove that, that'll be all, and we can come out of this button, then come out of the div that's covering the button, and we'll create another div. This div will have a class of flex, a gap of 3, an item of center, and inside this div would be another div, and this div would have a class. And the classes that would add to this ones are a bit much, but follow along and you should not have any issues. Divide x2 bg gray 100, py2, that's padding top and bottom of 8 pixels, px4, padding left and right of 16 pixels, and flex, item center, and overflow hidden. You know one thing, please remove this padding, both the padding top and bottom, and padding left and right. Remove both of them. We'll add them on later on so I can explain something. After doing that, I saved it. Now it saved, close all the div tags, which is one weird thing that Svelte does for you. It is prettier plugin. Well, let's continue. Inside that div tag that we just created and styled now, we'll add a button And this button would have two things inside it. Would have an image and would have a span. Now what we're trying to create is the like button and the dislike button that we usually see in the YouTube. So in this button we have, let's just write something in this span. Let's just say 3,000 likes, like that. And in this button, this particular button here, we'll give this a class of py2 px4. So instead of adding it in this parent, we'll add that padding on the buttons themselves. So py2 px4 flex item center gap 2, like that. And we'll come to the image tag. I want to add the src of the image, so say icons / like icon dot svg, and just like that the like icon should show. And in this span, we'll give this span some class as well. So text, should we do extra small? Let's do just small. Text small, then font medium, like that. Now, yes, I like the way it's coming up. It's gradually coming up. Now when we over the button, I want the color to become a bit darker. So I'll come back to the button class and I'll say over bg gray 200. Now when I over it, it should be a bit darker like that. Yes. Well, I'll copy over everything I written here. Everything. I'll just copy it and I would paste it one more time so I can create the dislike button. So first of all, I'll change the parts of the icon to dislike. Now we have the dislike button showing and the button. The next thing we want to do about it is to make this ends rounded. We want both the ends to be rounded. So then we come to the parent covering both buttons, the parent class covering both buttons, and we'll add one more class. We'll add the rounded full class. So say rounded full. Now it's rounded and it looks the way we want it to look. As you can see, we can over each individual buttons. Perfect. Now we want to create the share icon and the more icon. So we have to do that. We just copy the button, come out of the div that's covering both buttons, and we'll paste just the button here. We'll change the icon from dislike icon to share icon. So we should see share icon just like that. We'll add one thing here, which is rounded full. So now it's completely rounded, and we'll change this here to share. We'll copy and paste that one more time. Copy, and this time to be for the more icon. So we'll change the text here to more. And after that, we'll also change the icon as well. In fact, this more will not actually have the text, so we'll remove the text. Just going to have an icon. Change the icon to more like that. I just have 3 dots like this. Yeah, but we also want to remove something here. So going to be the padding, padding left and right that we have. So this px4, we'll remove it for the more. So as you can see, it's not completely rounded. In order to get it to be completely rounded, we'll add px2. So it's not being completely rounded. But instead of having py2 px2, we can just remove both of them and add p2. which is the same thing. And now we should have that round just like that. Exactly. Now if I go full screen, I can see everything is coming together. We're building the components one by one, little by little, and they're coming together gradually. So that's it for channel info. The next one we'll be building will be the video description. So go back to the page and we need to create a new component here, which should be video description. So des description dot svelte, like that. So say the file or folder video description dot svelte already exists. We already have that. We'll just create a file called video description. So I'll come to components here and I'll say video description dot svelte, and I'll just write here this, so you can see it when I import it inside here. You want to import it right after you have your channel info. So I'll say this script video description, like that. Exactly. So now we have it showing here, meaning that it's been imported. I'll go back inside here and remove this text that we have here. Create a script tag. Remember, language TypeScript. Come out of the script tag and let's create our markup. So div, the first div would have a couple of classes. Let's just add bg gray of 200. We'll give this margin bottom of 5. Make this relative. I'll tell you why very soon. Overflow hidden. A text of small. Rounded LG. Want to have rounded corners and over. So that means when we over it, we want the background to be a bit darker, so to be bit gray 300 this time, with a padding of 3 all around. So inside that div, the first thing we have will be another div, and this div will have a class of font medium, margin bottom 2. Inside that div would have a span. This span will be taking the number of views this video has had and the published dates. So the first thing right here with number of views, we can just say 10,000, like that. I'll say views. Then the published date would be something like 2011 20, something like that. And exactly, come out of the div that's covering that span. So we'll come out of that div and create a p tag. This p tag would have margin bottom 5, MB 5, and will be the description. So you can just say lorem here to just generate some text for us. So that is done now. You can see when we over the box, the background gets a bit darker. When we come out of that p tag, we want to come out and create a button. Now this button is going to be the show more button that we have. So we'll say show more. Come here, open a class, and make this absolute. And that was the reason why we add that div to be relative, so that this button will be absolute relative to that div. Now let's give this a bottom of 1 and the right of 1, so to move to the right. Now we'll give this BG gray. We don't even have to give this a background. It doesn't make this transparent. So say BG transparent. First of all, if any issue arises, then we'll change that. But for now, let's just make that transparent. Font. Let's make the font a bit thicker. So say font medium. That's font width 500. P1 and capitalize. Now I want you to go to the come up and go to your script tag. I'll create a variable of show more. So let's show more will be equals to false, like that. And come to this button, create an on-click event. So we can just say on and then colon click. That's how we'll create it in Svelte. And we'll create a function inside it. And in that function, we just have the show more. Anytime we click this button, show more will be equals to its opposite. So show more will be equals to the opposite of show more, like that. So now anytime we click on show more, it just makes show more equals to what it wasn't. So if it was false, it will be equals to true. If it was true, it will be equals to false. And now we can come to the markup here, to the show more here, and we can just write some JavaScript here. We can see if show more is true, then we want to be showing less here. But if it was not, if it was false, we want to show more. So when we click on it, if it's true, we'll go to show less. If it's false, it will go to show more. So now it's in show more because it's false. Now if I click on it to show less, so as you can see, show more, show less, show more, show less. Perfect. But we actually want something to be happening when we click on that. And what we want, let me just show you. So in order to show you, I have to increase this text and pretend like it was actually a lot. So the description text, I'll just add a couple of things to it, like that. And now I'll come to the div that we have. And Svelte has a cool way of allowing us to add class names depending on whether something is true or false. So the way we do that is by adding another class here like this, and column, and the class we want to add. The class I want to add will be height of feet, and it's going to be on whether this show more is true. So if show more is true, this div would have a added class of height feet. But if it is false, so I'll just create another one here and just say if it is false, if show more is false. So by putting this exclamation here, I've stated that if show more is false, I want a height of 105 pixels, like this. So now as you can see, it's smaller, it's cut short because of show more is actually false. But when I click on show more here, bam, it becomes the height of the whole text. If I click on it, it goes smaller, show less, show more. So as you can see, one thing you notice is that by just cutting through the text, you understand, which is one disadvantage of using this particular method. And the second thing you notice is that this show more doesn't show very well. So that was the problem I was talking about when I added this background transparent. We can change this from background transparent to BG gray 200. Now it has a background, but the disadvantage is that when we hover over this, you can see that the container becomes darker. Yeah, but the button doesn't become darker when we hover the container. So when we hover the container, we want the button to also become darker. In order for us to do that is we come to the parent and we add something called group, group, just like that. Then we can come to the button and say group over, and we can add the BG gray 300. And anytime we over this container, it also affects the div, the button, and give it a background of 300. So as you can see, works perfect. So after this component, because we're actually done with this component now, we create another component. So let's go back to that page. We'll create another component called the comments. This is the place where all the comments will be. So comment, create a new component called comments. That's svelte. And let's just say comments here, and we will import that comment component inside here like this. Comments like that, and we should have nice auto import. If you're not having auto imports, you can actually import them just like this, but if you are using Visual Studio Code, I believe you should have some very sweet auto imports for you. So we can go inside our comment component. Remember, the first thing we do here is inside this comment component, we'll create a script, and this script will have a language of TS if you are using TypeScript, which we are in this video. And outside that script, we'll have a div. And basically in Svelte, to just tell you, this is basically the only boilerplate code we have to write. The only code that you might have to always write every time, which is beautiful compared to other frameworks. I don't understand how mind-blowing this is to you, but it's really nice in my opinion that the only thing we actually have to write over and over again is basically just this script, which we can even use like an emit to make it a lot faster. Like I can actually add a short, I can add a an emit to this, and I'll just write src and to bring out this for me without having to write the language TS myself. That is beautiful. Well, let's keep on going. So we have this div. So instead of making this a div, so in Svelte, we don't actually have to be having a container every time. We don't have to put it inside a container. If it doesn't have to be in a container, we do not have to put it in a container. So we'll just say h1. We won't put anything inside a div. Say h1, and this h1 will have the total number of comments. So we'll say 500 comments, and comment comments like that. We'll give it some couple of classes. We'll say font medium and margin bottom of 5. Outside that issue, I'll have a div, and this div is going to cover all the comments we'll be having. So for each comment, we'll create another component called a comment card. But yeah, we'll give this a class, just a simple space y of 5, just like that, space -y -5, and we'll create a new component called comments card. So say comments card dot svelte. Inside comments card, again, script, we already know the drill by now, TS. Outside the script, div, this div is going to be a flex. I'm sure you already guessed that. It's a gap of 4. Inside this div, we have an image which will be the icon of the person that's making the comment, PNG. And we'll come inside there and actually import our comments card here. So say comment cards like that. Again, we'll give this a couple of classes, a width 10 and height 10, rounded full. Oh, I'm not even putting this inside my, sorry. Yeah, width 10, height 10, rounded full, just like that. The reason why it's having that squiggly line because we didn't put an alt text, just put an empty alt text there, and you should be good. Also close that as well. We're having an error. We're saying, yeah, no, that's not an error. Let's just save that, refresh, and yeah, we are good. So outside of that image, we'll have a div, and this div is going to have a class of space y2, and inside that space y2 we'll have another div, and this div is going to have a class of flex items item baseline, and inside that div we'll have an h1. So this h1 is going to be the name of the person commenting, so we can just say Goku is making a comment to our Svelte video, and this h1 will have a couple of classes himself as well. You just say font medium, text XM for small, and then capitalize. After this h1 would have a span for the time the person, I meant to span, not for the time the person actually commented, the time the person actually made this comment. So we just say the time should be something like 12 hours ago. Imagining it was just 12 hours ago. It's not been 24 hours yet. This one will have some classes. So now this one has to be extra small. So text XS, and it will be gray. Text gray 600. So that's 500. 6 like this. Just like that. So outside the div covering both the h1 and the span, we'll have a p for content. So now this is what the person actually commented. We can just say class text sm, and we can add lorem to do the magic for us here. Since this is a comment, it shouldn't be this long. We'll just remove a couple of things. Let's make this full screen. Let's just say remove that like that. That's okay.